Yeah, no.
Last week we left off in the middle of Siman Shentes Siv Dalet. I'm talking about the sugya of bosses. So the Mechaber said, if someone forgot an Even al Pi HaChavius, so then the Even, the stone, is muktzah, but the Chavius doesn't become a bosses to the stone, and therefore if you're allowed to move the Chavius and knock off the Even, and the Chavius is not muktzah. But if in Niach, you put an Even, a stone, on a Chavius Midas, you wanted to put it there, Sheyishru Sham Shabbos, that you should keep it there when Shabbos comes in, then also Lahatas Lanair, you're not allowed to move it because it becomes a basis of double rasa. And the Yeshayim in the Mechaber says, Afilu Yenichem Sham al Das Sheyishru Sham Shabbos, Kedei Sheyitla B'Shabbos, Mutter Lahatas Lanair B'Shabbos, but they also al Yenichem al Das Sheyishru Sham Kol Shabbos. So the Mechaber is another sheet that says the only time it becomes a basis is when you put it there and you have in mind to leave it there for the whole Shabbos. Those are the two sheetas in the Mechaber. Then the Ramah says, and if that's the case, if once it becomes a basis, then it's according to the first sheeta, if you had in mind to keep it there the whole Ben Hashmoshes. According to the second sheet, only if you had in mind to keep it there the whole Shabbos. Once that happens, now even if the muksa comes off for us, afilu natal issa misham, also l'taltal akli, you're now allowed to move the kli, the ma'achesh and nasa basis of an asir, the mitzvah Shabbos, asir kol ha-Shabbos kula. B'chem b'chol muksa. That's the klal. Once something is a basis for Shabbos, even if the muksa falls off of it or it gets thrown off of it, the basis is muksa for the whole Shabbos. Now what does it mean, first of all? According to the first shita, right, there are two shitas here. The first shita is what we're machmer with, is the first shita that if you have in mind to put it down, and you have in mind to leave it there the whole Ben Hashmoshes, it says B'knisis HaShabbos, it says, then it becomes the basis of Davar Asir. So if you look in the Mishabur over here, Mishabur says in Seif Kar Yotes, B'chnitzis HaShabbos, Hainu Kol Zman Bein Hashmoshes. That means you had in mind to leave it there the whole Bein Hashmoshes. What's Bein Hashmoshes? Is it machlokes? Whatever Bein Hashmoshes is, you have to have in mind to leave it there the whole Bein Hashmoshes. So that's what we pass in life. We don't go, the Yeshayim is a kula. You have to have a mind to leave it there the whole Shabbos. But for us, it's the whole Ben Hashmoshes. So,
what if we were intentionally moving Ben Hashmoshes, but it never actually stayed there for all of Ben Hashmoshes? But your clear intention was I wanted there to be Ben Hashmoshes.
It wasn't there the whole Ben Hashmoshes?
Yeah,
so then it's not a basis.
Then it doesn't become basis.
Right, it has to be there.
In mind and
it has to be there. Yeah. So it's totally in only Ben Hashmoshes. That means if someone is in Kabbalah Shabbos early, like in the summer, someone starts Shabbos early, and he has in mind to leave something on the table, but he has in mind that you take it off the table before it gets dark outside, so the table doesn't become a basis. Even though for you, that was already Knesset HaShabbos. For you, Shabbos, you were Kabbalah Shabbos much earlier. But it's not called Knesset HaShabbos. Knesset HaShabbos means Bein Hashmoshes. The time of Bein Hashmoshes. So it doesn't make a difference each Yachid when he's Kabbalah Shabbos. That's what the person can say. So this is all by Miniach. So now, the Magen Avraham says over here, Magen Avraham Seif Katin Vav, The first part we saw already. Asher Yisharu, Avol, if you put it there during the week, he didn't have a mind to leave it there b'Shabbos, then Mikri Shecheach, it's called that you forgot it. That means you put it there during the week, and you had a mind not to leave it there on Shabbos. Then it's called Shecheach. If you by mistake left it there, it's called the Shecheach. We spoke last week, if you put it there stam, without any das, so machlek is the seif and the marai. It's Erev Shabbos or even during the week. So now, the Baruch comes up with a shayla, which is a very common shayla. Because of oid, Marai writes, Masha the Ktakta, the Pish Rashi, he's going to go through a machlokes if you put something down without any intention. You put it down, you weren't makbid where you put it, unintentionally, haphazardly we call it. You put something down, and lav daf you want to put it down in this place. So what's the halacha? Is that called hiniach or is that called shachar? So says the Magen Avraham. See how Magen Avraham inside. Because of oid, the Marai writes, Masha the Ktaktim Pish Rashi Perek Noitel, Nasa bosses elam kein hiniach olav davar hamuksa b'shvil sheis yashav olav b'toiv. He's writing to the shoyl. This is the Marai, who's the Shumas Adeshem, who's writing to the shoyl. The shoyl, the person who asked the question, says he was medai from Rashi that it's only a bosses if you put it there in that place because you want it to be there. Avol masha menichem b'derech akroi. This they put down derech akroi means haphazardly. K'mayishu regilim l'hasim b'teva chafetzim elu al elu. You put a bunch of stuff in a drawer. You dump everything in the drawer. Now, there's no room in the drawer to put each chayfetz on the drawer, on the floor. It's called the floor of the drawer. There's not enough room for everything. So you put a bunch of stuff inside of it. Now what's on top of what? You're not makbid. You have to put everything in. That's what the shoyl said. So let's get this clear over here. You have a drawer, which is a very common child. You put a bunch of stuff into the drawer. Now, if the drawer is muktzah or not, that depends how much muktzah is in the drawer. Because if you have more muktzah, more davar asr in the drawer and davar heter, then the drawer itself becomes muktzah. But let's say you have more davar heter in the drawer. All the davar heter is more chashiv than all the devarim ha-muktzim, all the muktzah things in the drawer. Then the drawer does not become a bosses of davar asr. It's a bosses davar heter with davar isr. The davar heter is more chashiv, so the drawer itself you're allowed to open. But in the drawer itself, you have a bunch of stuff lying around, and you have a davar heter, a davar isr, lying on a davar heter. You have a pen lying on a book, let's say. It's an example. So you put it down there. You want it dafka on top of the book? You don't want it dafka on top of the book. You put it down, bakroi. You put it there. And you meant it should be there, you're not going to take it out till after Shabbos. We're talking about not that you had in mind to take it away before Shabbos. You put it there and you're going to leave it there, and it should be called a meniach. So the shayl is saying over here, but since I don't care that it should be on top of the book, I just dumped everything in the drawer, if to be room on the floor of the drawer to put the pen down inside of the book, I put the pen down on the side of the book, says the shayl, therefore it does not become a basis. A basis is only if you bedafka put the davar ha-muktzah on top of the davar ha-heter because you want it to be there. But if you don't care if it's there, says the shoyl, it's not called muktzah.
So that's like the candlesticks when you put it on the tray. The tray is you definitely.
No, you definitely want it. Yeah,
that one's
definitely want it. Yeah.
Right.
We have an example last week. You put your car keys down, right, someplace on the table or Erev Shabbos as you're running. Now you don't care what it's on top of. You did dafka put it down on top of that thing. Right. You're running. You dropped it over there. That's where you put it. That's the shayla. So he says. So the shayla said it's not called a basis. Nira says the Shumas Adesha back to him. The ein rayim b'perish Rashi lahatir ela kishenach alav kvar ube'erev Shabbos shachar. This heter is only whatever the Rashi is over there. You can only be a raya from Rashi that you put it there, and then Erev Shabbos you have to take it away. That means you did it stop. You didn't put it there to leave it there the whole Shabbos. Avoniach Erev Shabbos. You put something down by Erev Shabbos. Afilu ba'akroi. Hoyel v'yadeya she'amuktzah yeinoch ala chayfetz b'Shabbos. Since you know the muktzah will be on the chayfetz ahead of b'Shabbos, gam ha'chayfetz nase muktzah ad chal n'shoynoi. So Trumas Hadeshan argues on the shoyel, and he says that even though you put it down by akroi, you put it down lav dafka to be on top of the davar heter, it stays muktzah because you knew it was going to be there the whole Shabbos. There's no heter of akroi
unless you put it before Shabbos. Unless it was there before Shabbos.
No, if you put it before Shabbos.
Before Erev Shabbos.
No, before Erev Shabbos is because you didn't have a mind to keep it there. That's Stam Das. This is spoken last week. This is the deal from the Trumas Hadeshan.
So the Trumas Hadeshan is only saying that this is a Friday case.
He
would agree with the shoyel on Wednesday.
No, on the Wednesday because you don't have a mind to keep it there Shabbos. On Wednesday you put something down Stam, you don't have das to keep it there in Shabbos.
So everybody would agree.
Yeah, but let's say you put something down on Wednesday, and you leave it there for a couple of days. You know you can leave it there for a couple of days. The only head to the Marai for Wednesday, Thursday is that you don't have a mind to keep it there for Shabbos. There's Stam Das. Lav Dafka be there over Shabbos. Lav Dafka be there over Shabbos. Which is most things which you use on a daily basis. You put it down Wednesday or Thursday, then you can't say you have Das to leave it there over Shabbos. You may take it and use it Thursday or Friday.
No, but somebody who puts on the car keys Friday morning when they come up from Indian, you know, and
yeah.
I mean, you have some.
Yeah, so that's the machlokes we had last week, which was the seif and the marai. Rashi says Friday automatically is for the whole Shabbos, and Seif says no, it's holding the machlokes now. Let's have Friday. That's what we're talking about on Friday. Holding the machlokes. But even when I put it down, it was ba'akroi. That means one case was, I put something down on Thursday, that B'dafka put it down where it is, but I don't know what's going to be with Shabbos. I didn't think about Shabbos. I took my camera, and I put it down on a table on Thursday, and I B'dafka wanted to be on that table. Now what's with Shabbos? I wasn't thinking about Shabbos. And it comes Friday, Shabbos, and I left it there on that table, on the side table. So according to B'sei Seif, it's not a bosses. According to Marai, if you do it on Friday, according to B'sei it's not a bosses. According to Marai, it is a bosses. Because it's Stam Das. But on Thursday, they both agree that it's not a bosses. Why? Because you have Stam Das. Here we're talking about Akroi. I don't even have a mind to put it down at that table. I just put it down someplace haphazardly. That's this machlokes over here. It's more negeya.
Erev Shabbos of Akroi, according to Trumas Hadeshan, would make it muktzah.
Right. According to the shoyel, it wouldn't make it muktzah. Even though you're putting it there to leave it there for the whole Shabbos. Last week's machlokes was, did you have a mind for the whole Shabbos or not? Stam das. He didn't have a mind for Shabbos, we say, anyway, you can keep it there for the whole Shabbos. He was saying you're going to put it there for the whole Shabbos. You know you're going to leave the pen in the drawer the whole Shabbos.
Right. The problem is that it's on the book that we want to move.
The problem is where it is, what it's on.
So the book...
The question is, do you want to use the book on Shabbos? So you want to know if you could take the book and slide the pen off and use the book on Shabbos.
So that it happens a lot, like you're studying Mishnayot on the subway during the week. You leave it in your briefcase,
right?
And now you want to learn it on
yeah,
Shabbos.
and so it depends what's on top of it.
Mm-hmm. So
if there's something on top of it, if there's nothing on top of it, you stick your hand in the briefcase, take it out.
But opening the briefcase itself...
So the question is, the briefcase muktzah or not? Yeah. If the briefcase could be a bosses. If what's in the briefcase is roiv of the thing which is in the briefcase is muktzah, then the briefcase is muktzah.
Yeah, so by definition, wouldn't that normally be the case? Like it's work-related items, right? I mean,
yeah. So usually in the briefcase, most of the stuff is muktzah. So the briefcase itself is muktzah. So you have a shayla here. What are you doing? You're not moving the whole briefcase. You're metal to mixas. You're opening a little bit, and then you stick your hand and take out the mishnayos, right? So that we saw tilted b'miktas is also a problem. But let's say the briefcase is not. Let's say there's more heter inside than isser. So it's not a boss's davar asr. But lying on top of the mishnayos is a pen. With a pen, you don't want dafka on top of the mishnayos. So there, that's the question over here. It's Bakroi. The shadow happens a lot in a drawer.
So basically, going actually with that question, if you use that briefcase on Friday, according to the Marai, you can't take out the same meaning. Assuming that you can't, you have to.
If you threw that pen on
yeah.
Friday.
Yeah, if you threw that pen on Friday, then it's muktzah.
Right. According to the Marai, it'll be muktzah. Yeah. It's Bakroi.
You couldn't actually take it out. You
Correct.
If you would have thrown it on Thursday and not use it on Friday, then you come.
Then you come because that could be stam. Not after you leave it to the whole Shabbat and it won't become a basis. Not because it had to Bakroi. For a different heter. Even though you put it there, you still have a heter because it was Thursday. Not the heter of Akroi, that's a Thursday heter. Akroi is something else. We have a lot of times, in my house we have a lot of times that there's stuff lying around on the table, and you just make a pile and you put it in a corner someplace till after Shabbos.
But what's this vara for? Right? Maybe if it's from Ash, like
no, because you put it there. Put it there
for Shabbos, for Friday morning, especially.
No, because you put it there with Dafka. You took a pile, right? And you have some books and you have some muktzah stuff on top of it. And you put it in the corner, in the kitchen or in the dining room. You don't want it lying around on Shabbos. Then you decide you want something from the bottom of the pile. So is it a basis? According to the Marai, if what's lying on top is a davar muktzah, so even though it's put there by Akroi, you put it there before Shabbos. You're cleaning up the house before Shabbos, you're making a pile, and you put everything in the corner. If on top of the pile is a pen, or a phone, or anything that's muktzah, according to the Marai, the whole thing is muktzah, the whole pile is muktzah.
If you have a chest of drawers, everything is a mutter inside, but on top you've got something that's muktzah.
Chest of drawers.
No, but it's raw.
At my mother's house, I was cleaning up, and I took the printer and I put it on top of some drawers that had clothes in underneath.
Oh, so the drawers aren't holding up the printer. The chest is. Maybe the chest may be a davar muktzah. You can't move the chest.
But
the drawers are not davar muktzah. The drawers you can move.
Anyway, the drawers are still, if you count everything, then the roof is heter.
It happens with the shaila about that. It happens with the shaila about that. Pashas it's mutter. The shaila is the whole chest become a davar muktzah. Bosses. Or no, things that have no shaykhs to the davar to muktzah doesn't become a bosses. Pashas it's mutter. Yeah. Fine. V'linira. So that's the Marai. The Marai is machma. You put it bakroi, so it becomes muktzah. And the shoyel of the Marai said that it's not muktzah. V'linira says the Mogen Avram Poshet kedivri hashoyel. Like the person who asked the question, that something you put bakroi is mutter. Domataltlin tenuna agav kitma afagav sheyesh al ha'efer shivre eitzim. You like carry the kanuna is a shovel, small shovel. Agav kitma with the ashes in it, with the dirt in it. Afagav sheyesh al ha'efer shivre eitzim.
Kitma is the ashes.
Kitma is the ashes, yeah. Kitma is the ashes.
What's the label?
The knuna.
That's a knuna, okay.
So the shivre eitzim is muktzah. Still, you're allowed to carry it. Why? Says the Mogen Avram, because at eitzim, the shivre eitzim, they're on top of the knuna, on top of the kitma, top of the ashes. You didn't put it there, b'dafka, it should be there. It happens to be, it's lying there, akroi. And still it's mutter. Why is it mutter? Because akroi, something they put the derech akroi, does not make the thing under the bosses. Mashkas v'ram perek havav v'chem taltlin shuma tahira afa pisha tmeya m'nechas aleha shuma tmeya is muktzah on Shabbat. You can't do anything with it. If you have shuma tahira and shuma tmeya on top of it, you're allowed to move the shuma tahira. Why? It's a bosses for the shuma tmeya. The teretz is it's talking about meniach b'kavana. That case over there, that's mutter is even if you put it there b'kavana. Dibi shecheach afila tmeya levada shari. You're allowed to move it. And still we see you're allowed to move the Truma Tahira. Why? Because since you didn't put the Truma Tamei B'dafka on top of the Truma Tahira, it's just that there was no room in the bucket for the Truma Tamei. Therefore it's called Ba'akroi, and you're allowed to move the Truma Tahira. And I believe in the Rambam, B'beni Ruchim, B'shuvas Rash, Afil Hachil, and Minan, the Tahira not the Basas the Tamei. V'amar kosev gabi even al piachavi zedafik shemeniach aderech bosses osra meniach adas kisui havik shecheach. So here's a whole different shilas and machlokes in the Rishonim. If you put something on top of a chavius, not for, you want a chavius to hold it up. You're using it as a cover for the chavius.
Yeah, we did it. We actually spoke about it last week. We used the
spoke about last week.
The stone to keep the lid
right.
on.
Right, we spoke about last week. That here we're talking about you want the even on top of the chavius.
Right.
But in a case where you don't need the even on top of the chavius for the even,
right.
You need the even as a cover for the chavius. There's some machlokes if that's called a basis or not. Because you don't need the chavius to hold up the stone. You need the opposite. You need the stone to cover the chavius. Because you want it to be there. Avo, but it says, but that's a machlokes only when you put it for a kisui. But if you put it ba'akroi, it's mashma that everyone agrees that the chavis has not become a basis to the evan.
Well, hold on a minute. If you are using the evan for something, but the evan is still is it why would it still?
Yeah, it's still muktzah because it was one time use.
You have use for it.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. We saw in Shinches that the evan for one time use doesn't make it into a
right.
The taltalin, sheyesh by kiss mois ayin sham. If you're not to carry something that has in it the taltalin, even though there's money, a kiss, a wallet inside, it's still mutter to move it for the same reason, because the thing inside the sack doesn't become a basis to the kiss, because it didn't put the kiss there to be on top of the metaltalin that's in the sack. You put it there, you put everything together in the sack. These are all rayas that if you put something down on something, even though you're putting it there, b'dafka, you had a mind to put it there, but if the reason why you're putting it there is because there's no room to put it, that's called ba'akroi, and doesn't make it muksa.
So again, the Trumas edition would argue on all of these cases,
Correct.
or only on Erev Shabbos?
No, all the cases. Trumas edition holds that if you put something ba'akroi, it's called maniach.
Even on Wednesday?
And that depends. Wednesday it depends.
Wednesday ba'akroi.
Wednesday ba'akroi is like a maniach on Wednesday. But a maniach on Wednesday, it depends if you have positive das and leave it there for Shabbos.
Depends on the
That's
das.
called maniach. If you have stam das, then it's mutter. Maniach on Wednesday is a whole different heter. Because you have to have positive das to read it for Shabbos.
Because it seems to me that from the reading that I read it that the Trumas edition is making his diak only on Erev Shabbos.
No, Trumas edition. He's arguing. He's saying there's no din akroi.
Erev Shabbos shachai.
Erev Shabbos shachai.
Abo meniach be'erev Shabbos. In other words, his
diuk
is right. His diuk is that Erev Shabbos akroi doesn't give you a heter.
No, it's not after Erev Shabbos.
But that's what he says. I see. I mean, like I see.
No,
why is he introducing Erev Shabbos into this?
Because otherwise, it's tam das. It's not Erev Shabbos, it's tam das. The Marai holds that the Shoyl had in Rashi. He's saying the chiluk is that if you put it on Erev Shabbos, it's worse because stam das on Erev Shabbos is leave it there for Shabbos. Even ba'akroi. It's not machalik ba'akroi, not ba'akroi Erev Shabbos. Stam das on Erev Shabbos, he's saying is leave it there the whole Shabbos.
It seems from his lashon it's very mashma that it's an Erev Shabbos.
Erev Shabbos shachar maniach be'erev Shabbos afilu ba'akroi. Yeah, I don't.
And that would be the chiddush. In other words, he's basically arguing. He's saying akroi on Erev Shabbos you lose that heter of akroi. Akroi would have given you a heter. Comes the Trumas Hadesh, it says
akroi gives heter when on Thursday.
No, on akroi.
Akroi Friday is
akroi Thursday is mutter.
Anytime akroi, if you have the
akroi is maniach. According to Barai, akroi is a din like maniach. That's what he says. Akroi has a din like a maniach. And you want to say the what? That only on Erev Shabbos? Only on Erev Shabbos akroi is a din like maniach, but if you put it on Thursday, akroi is not like maniach?
Yeah.
And that would mean that if you put it there on Thursday, ba'akroi, and you know you're going to leave it there on Shabbos, it's not a basis. That's what you want to say. Our machlokes is, if you do something by Akroy on Thursday, and you know you're going to leave it there on Shabbos.
What does it mean by Akroy? In other words, Akroy means that you left it there, and yes, it was in with but it wasn't. I
didn't want to put a dafka on this book, but the book is there, so I put it there.
You put it there.
That's Akroy.
That's Akroy, right?
Now I had in mind to leave it there for Shabbos.
No, it says Shabbat Shachacho. That's all
right. That's what he said. That's what I'm coming to prove from that. He's only saying that if you put something by Akroy, it has a din like Meniach. Now the Marai himself holds that there's a chiluk between Erev Shabbos and Shabbos. That if you put something and you don't have positive das for Shabbos, you have stam das. He's mechalek between Friday and Shabbos. That Friday stam das means to leave it there for Shabbos, and the seif argues on that. He says you put something down on Friday, right? Lav dafka stam das is for Shabbos. You have to have positive das to leave it there for Shabbos. That's his chiluk in Erev Shabbos and Thursday. Not in the Akroy. When you put something down by Akroy, the Marai hold it's the same dinim as Meniach. Now, what's the din by Meniach? There it depends. Thursday or Friday. But that's the Marai's chiddush. That Meniach, that Akroy is like Meniach.
He doesn't hold of the din of Akroy.
Right. He doesn't hold of the din of Akroy.
So how does he deal with the sock and the metalfin of money?
I don't know. I have to check how he answers it. I'm not sure how he answers it.
And the Gemara of
yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how he answers it.
Right.
I'm not sure how he answers it.
But that's why I thought maybe that's only in Erev Shabbos, and then he can basically say, yeah, all of the other cases are talking about not Erev Shabbos. Those you can find for those, right?
Yeah.
You say like this, well, by the case of the Kitman, by the things like that you're talking about. But by Erev Shabbos, I'm not willing to say, because otherwise he has a Gemara to deal with.
I hear what he's saying, but I don't think that's the shot. I think the Marai is saying Akroy is a Meniach.
Is a Meniach.
Is a Meniach.
Okay.
Now the Magen from ends off here. We spoke to that last week. Kasva Taisus Dabam Hey, the Kinish Atan Golim, Kimish Asur Atan Golim, Em Yesh by Beya, Beis Afroyach, also the Tatla, the Einzek, the Shecheach, El Kemeniach. Who are the Chalketze Bezer? So at the end, the saying here is that even though I said Ba'akroi may be mutter, arguing on the Marai, you put something there Ba'akroi it's mutter, but something that its place is meant to be there, then even if you didn't put it there Ba'akroi, even if it was someone else put it there, or you had a chicken coop, and a chicken laid an egg, it becomes muktzah. It's the opposite. If it's its place, then even less than Akroi, it becomes a bosses already, because that's where it belongs. So you can't say that if you have a pen drawer and you put a pen there on Erev Shabbos, that it's Akroy, or whatever during the week it's Akroy. No, that's its place. That's its place. That's what it's meant to be. So the drawer becomes a bosses to the pens. If the drawer is meant for other things also, then Lav Dafka becomes a bosses. But something that's meant to be in that place is automatically called Muktzah, bosses. So if you look at Mishnah Berurah over here, he's not so makel like the Magen Avraham, with the Akroy. The Mishnah Berurah sees Kata in Yud Ches, first part we saw last week. If you go down a little bit, 2 lines down, it says V'hinei, after a dot. V'hinei be'ikar din bosses.
Yeah, the end of the line.
V'hinei be'ikar din, the end of the second wide line.
Yep.
V'hinei be'ikar din bosses, Maser Gemara Avraham, L'mikar bosses, Avram Kein Nich Olav Davar Muktzah, B'shvil She'is Yashem Olav B'toiv. Aval Masha Menichem, B'derech, Akroi, K'moshe Regilim, L'hasem, B'teva, Chafetzim, Elu al Elu, V'neishen L'revach, L'fanes, L'chol Chefetz, Mokem, B'shul L'ateva, Kai Gavna, Loi, Choshe B'niach, Ela, Shecheach. Hamutel L'taltel Chefetz, Hamutel Achar Sheniru, Hamuktzah Me'olav. Right? That's the Magen Avraham. Akroi is not, the thing, the Davar Heter is not a bosses. Mokem, Ateva, Group for the Kulama, Bosses, Davar Isser, Hamuktzah Choshev Yosef, we spoke this out before. For also Tatla, Dal Kaparim, Daita, Hayashia, Munech, Hamuktzah B'teva. If there's more Muktzah in the table, in the drawer, then Heter, anyway the drawer is Muktzah. Olfizer, Mashon Hagim B'Shabbos L'Hesed HaMapa Al Yeina, Me'al HaShulchan, Achar Shemeser Yehudi HaMenoira Me'alea. They had a cover on the table, not our regular tablecloths, But the Achayim speak out over here that our tablecloths. So he speaks about a menorah here. He said that you put a menorah on top of the table. So a menorah doesn't have to be on top of the tablecloth. So he's not talking about our tablecloths. We have a tablecloth on the whole table.
He's talking about like a doily, like a small kind of thing.
He's talking about something that they use as like I would call like a runner on the table. And so put the leichter on top of the runner. Now the runner, you don't need it under the leichter. The leichter doesn't have to sit dafka on top of the runner. Right, the leichter doesn't have to sit dafka on top of the runner. The person put it there Erev Shabbos. So that's called, you put it there ba'akroi. So then you took the leichter away. Now you let him move the runner on Shabbos or not. There was a bosses of Davar Aser Bein Hashmoshes. That's basically the case he's talking about. He's not talking about our tablecloths. Our tablecloths are definitely a bosses of Davar Aser, because you would not put the leichter on top of the table and move the tablecloth away. It would look funny. So our tablecloths today is a bosses to the leichter. No question about it.
Even though the intention of our tablecloths is not to support the
doesn't make a difference.
It
doesn't make a difference because you want.
The intention is for the davar maya.
Right, it doesn't make a difference because you want the leichter now on top of the tablecloth. When you put the leichter top of the tablecloth, because you wouldn't want the leichter there without the tablecloth. Even though the leichter is there to cover the table, it's not holding up the leichter, the tablecloth.
Right, it
doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. Still, you want it there. Bein Hashmoshes, you wanted the leichter to be on top of the tablecloth. So he's talking about something else. There's another example people you have a lot of times in houses. They have a plastic you put on the table. Right, they put a plastic on the table. Now that plastic on top of the tablecloth.
Yeah.
You put a plastic.
Yeah.
Sometimes the plastic is the end of the table.
Right.
The tablecloth goes to the end of the table. You don't need the plastic under the leichter. No one's sitting there, and you don't need the plastic there under the leichter. It happens to be to put it down on top of the plastic. If the leichter was taken off by a guy on Shabbos, then that plastic tablecloth is not muktzah, it's not a bosses. Because you're more than happy to have the leichter on top of the tablecloth, not the plastic. You don't need it there. No one's sitting there. You're not worried about the tablecloth getting dirty. So that plastic wouldn't be muktzah.
Can't use that spur for the tablecloth?
No, because you wouldn't put the leichter on top of the table, not the tablecloth. You wouldn't move away the tablecloth and put the leichter down. You wouldn't do that. So Fiza Mashnegim Shabbos Lahesin Mapa Al Yainu Mi'ala Shulchan Acher Shem Mesa and Yudi Amenayim and Leah Gadin Eisin Ficha Ain't Sarach Shetahei Amenayim Dafka Ala Mapa Ela Ala Shulchan Ve'enim Amido Ala Mapa El B'fnei She'ef Shul Lefanes Mokom Amenayim Beguf HaShulchan Atzmoy Or B'fnei She'in Cheshus Lefanes Mokom. You don't care to move it away. L'fil Chanas Mapa bosses L'Amenayim Shaleh Shetei Osa B'tilton. And then he says, with Mapa HaTachtoina in the practice, so he's mefurish, he's not talking about the regular tablecloth. So the Mapa HaTachtoina ain't tzarech l'chol zeh, v'lo b'zmanenu haderech le'niach aleh alechem and hashmoshes v'nasis bosses l'zeh to choshev leis. So our tablecloths, anyway you have a heter. You put a leichter on top of the table, top of the tablecloths. If you have the other end of the tablecloth, you have your challah board and your challah. So it's a bosses of head of davar is. So anyway, it's not muktzah. So if the guy takes it off, you're not to move the tablecloth. It's not a problem. But you have to make sure that bein hashmoshes, you have something on the table. Now, what happens if someone makes early Shabbos and they start eating and they finish the challah? It happens to be bein hashmoshes, they're up to dessert, and all you have on the table is a few dessert cups. So it comes out that your leichter is more chashuv than everything else on the table, and becomes a bosses of davar aser. If it's bein hashmoshes, you have the challah on the table. So the person say challah is called davar chashuv. The bread is something you need to live on, so therefore it's more chashuv than the leichter. But if you took off the challah already, and all you have on the table is some other food that's not so chashuv, so then it becomes a bein hashmoshes. It becomes a bosses of davar aser. You have to be careful that people forget about that.
Meaning you're talking about basically when you bring in Shabbos early, especially in summer.
You bring in Shabbos early, so we said before that bosses is totally in bein hashmoshes. So even though you're already in Shabbos, it's not called as bosses davar also davar heter. Bein hashmoshes, at that point, you have to see what's on the table. Okay, v'yesh machmirim b'chol zeh.
So can you explain also something else? What does it mean, this guy is taking away something on Shabbos? How does that work? What's the...
Leichter?
Yeah, how does that...
The guy can take it away. The guy can move the leichter away on Shabbos.
You told him to, or you didn't tell him to? What exactly?
He knows.
He knows. He knows. You're not telling him on Shabbos to move it. Sure not.
But we know that anything that you can't do, telling a guy before he knows doesn't help you either. What's the case?
No, because you're not being nanif from the light. It's the opposite. Right? If a guy shuts off a light in the room, it's much easier than if it turns on a light.
Yeah,
because you're being nanif from the mice of putting on the light. You're being nanif from his light. Here, he didn't do something for you that be nanif from that act. He's taking something away. He's taking something away. The guy.
So we're going back to either you tell him the remiza.
Yeah.
So in other words, the idea is that what he's doing does not have a beneficial.
Correct.
There's no.
Yeah, it's not going to be nanif from Ma'aser Shabbos.
Right.
How the guy's doing it, we have to go back.
It's like turning off the light. So either Beremiza or he knows what to do.
Beremiza is not a heter. You can't tell the guy Beremiza.
No, for something that's that doesn't.
Yeah. Beremiza is shlevi d'actively.
Yeah.
Beremiza is shlevi d'actively.
In a case of a non-benefit.
Correct.
So that's basically you're saying is that the candles still have to be lit. I mean, a light because once the candles have gone out, then you
right.
Then you have
yeah, but if the candles go out. If the candles go out, you still have a problem. Saying if the candles go out before the Mashas, so you have no issues.
I'm saying they were light, and you're not. I'm talking about the case of the goy. I mean, if the goy is moving the candles when they're out already, so what does he do of Hannah from? If he's picking it up,
what's the chiluk of the lid or not lit?
Because the whole idea is you're saying that he's doing something negative. He's moving the lights. You have no.
No, not negative. Not because doing something negative. Not that you're taking away your light.
There's no mice Shabbos.
He's not doing something positive for you, not because he's doing something negative.
He is basically because now I can move the tablecloth.
No, but the mice is not a mice. What he's doing, the tablecloth is not a bosses anyway.
It's like turning off the light.
It's like a chavius with a stone on top. The chavius is not a bosses.
Right.
So what he's doing is he's taking away something that's on top of the tablecloth. It's not going to be nanny for mice Shabbos.
Okay.
Says the Magen Avraham, says the Bishop Ruv, Yesh Machmina B'chol Zeh. Mokem HaTzorich Nira Yesh L'Hakol Dekam Achroinim Seivim Kavasei the Magen Avraham. So the Bishop Ruh here doesn't say that it's Mekel Gamri like the Magen Avraham. But Mokem HaTzorich it says it could be Mekel. But the whole heter of Trumas Hadesha. So the tablecloth is not really negated to us today. We put something else on the tablecloth, unless it happens to be puts it on a runner, which is not so common. But the most common case of a kroy is a bunch of stuff lying around, and the davar muktzah is on top of it. As a mokem hatzayrich, you need the thing under the davar muktzah. It could be mekel. That a kroy does not make a basis.
So his lashon in the beginning is the hina bikr din. We basically like the Magen Avraham, and then he says, "In my mind."
Right.
Right. But
Right.
is he talking about Yesh Mefrin only on the second case of the Mappa, or do you think
No,
he's going back to
on the Chol Zeh, it says.
He's going back to the beginning?
The whole thing, yeah.
It seems to look, because at the beginning he says, yeah, we like the Magen Avraham. Then
But the mice is not mekel. Okay. Fine, that's the halacha. Now, you have here also the Magen Avraham on the Yesh Eimrim, that we saw that the only time it becomes a bosses is if you had a mind to leave it there the whole Shabbos. We're machmir that if you had a mind to leave it there Beresh Moshes, it's already a bosses. Yesh Eimrim, you have to leave it there the whole Shabbos. Says the Magen Avraham, but Makom Seder, Yesh Lis Mechal Zeh. There's a Makom Seder, you have a hefsid. It could be Soymich, if you didn't have a mind to leave it there the whole Shabbos, then it's not a bosses. Makom Seder is if you left your leichter on the sukkah, and you don't leave it there overnight. So you didn't know. If you did it b'dafka, then I don't think it would make him. But someone didn't know the halacha. He left his leichter in the sukkah, and then he realized, 1 second, I can't leave it there overnight. So it gets stolen. It's Makom Seder. So he didn't have a mind to leave it there the whole Shabbos. He didn't have a mind to leave it there the whole Shabbos. So it's a bosses of davar asa. The leichter is the bosses to the fire. So then if you be mekel, that you can move it on Shabbos. Makom Seder. That would be a heter, it's a chiddush. That would be a heter, you can even pick up the leichter and move it inside. I'm not passing it here. Everyone has to ask the rabbi before I do this. But but that's what come out, right? The light is only a bosses to the fire. The light is not a double also in itself. It's a bosses to the fire. So that fire, you didn't have a mind to leave it the whole Shabbos. According to the Yeshayimim, let's just put this in retrospect over here. According to the Yeshayimim, you have to have a mind to leave the double also on top of the double heter the whole Shabbos. Now, if you don't have a mind to the whole Shabbos, it's mutter. So anytime you have candlesticks, the fire goes out after a couple of hours. So you don't have a mind that the candlestick should be holding up the double also the whole Shabbos. So according to the Yeshayimim, every Shabbos, when the fire goes out, it's not a bosses, you can move the whole leichter to a different place if you want. It will come out.
And that's not called Klisha Machal Yisr.
Oh, and let's say it's called Klisha Machal Yisr, right? So
Yeah.
let's say okay, here you're doing it shouldn't get stolen, something else.
Yeah.
So let's say you're not doing it to get stolen, right? Let's say you're doing it because you need the place in the table.
So then what the, yeah.
We're mutter to move it. According to the Yeshayim, we're mutter to move the leichter. According to Yeshayim, after the fire goes out, it's mutter to move the leichter. That's what will come out.
Hold on, but even according to the first,
No, because the whole Benesh Moshes,
yeah.
you had a mind to leave it the Benesh Moshes.
So it's muktzah.
It's bosses a davar aser. Muktzah machmas gufay. A bosses is a muktzah machmas gufay. So you can't move it at all. A plain leichter which did not use Benesh Moshes. It's not gufay mekami, you're allowed to move it. Because it's not a bosses. But the problem with our leichter is that we use the Benesh Moshes, so now it becomes bosses a davar aser. So it's muktzah machmas gufay. But according to the Yashayimim in the Mechaber over here, it never became a bosses because it didn't have a mind to leave the fire on it the whole Shabbos. So according to the Yeshayimim, you have a heter to move a leichter every single Shabbos. For sure, it's tzarich kufa yemekayimai. If you're going to call leichter klisham leichter l'isr, if it's not called a klisham leichter l'isr, then you can move it. Even not tzarich kufa yemekayimai. So it says the Magen Avraham, but Mokem Hefsid, you're allowed to move the leichter. So it will come out that if someone forgot that it was Shabbos, I'm not saying someone does it on purpose in order to move it, then it won't be mekel. But someone forgot it was Shabbos, there's leichter in a sukkah, and his skin is going to get stolen, so Mokem Hefsid, he's allowed to move it.
So lechters, I don't think we keep in the sukkah, but let's say you forget your lulav and etrog over Shabbos in the sukkah, and you want to move it. Did you say hefsed? It's a question of hefsed. It's not a question of basis, but let's
That's
say.
that's all the vagina. That's all the vagina. No, we're not mekel muktzah b'mokum hefsed. Answer is no. We're not mekel muktzah b'mokum hefsed. You cannot be metaltal muktzah b'mokum hefsed. Here, we're not being mekel to metaltal muktzah b'mokum hefsed. We've been mekel with that shita that it's not muktzah. It's not muktzah. Right, but of course, we never mekel. We had this a few times already. We're never mekel to move muktzah b'mokum hefsed. That's not. Here, we're mekel with that shita that it's not muktzah. So that's why you're allowed to move it. So come out, you can move the light. Yeah. Alright, ask a child before you move it.
So we go back to Croy and things. Like we had a 3-day Yom Tov.
Right.
So Wednesday would be the same as Friday normally. So we
Right.
put something down on Wednesday.
Right, Benesh Moshe on Wednesday, yeah. Correct. Muktzah, that's all Shala. Muktzah to Benesh. Next Benesh Moshe, so it's automatically Muktzah and goes on later day, yeah. The master, the guy who built a sukkah with Lovud. You know the story?
With what?
Lovud. Lovud is that you put a wall, a piece, and then you have 3 tfachim, and it's considered like there's a whole wall. That's Lovud.
It's a mission sukkah.
Mission sukkah, Lovud. Right, you don't have to have a full wall. You can have a one thin pole, then another thin pole, 3 tfachim later,
Right.
another 3 tfachim. Right, that's called Chasher Sukkah. It's called Lovud. Doif and Akuma, you have nothing, it comes down the thing. So a guy built a sukkah with Lovud, Doif and Akuma, and left his leichter there overnight. And comes back the next morning and it's gone, the leichter. He said, I don't understand. How did the guy not get in?
He has walls.
He had walls. Yeah.
So back to the lulav and etrog we left in the sukkah. Does a cry help you there at all? Like if you let's say haphazardly you forgot you were going to move it.
No, a cry is only for the bosses.
Only for a bus.
A kroi is only for a bosses. If you put something on top of a davar heter,
Okay, so if you want to bring it,
but if it's not a davar heter, if it's a muktzah in itself, there's no heter to it. A kroi is only heter for a davar.
Leave it there, sukkah.
Okay, let's finish up the room over here.
yeah. But the first, the buses and the buses.
Yes.
So left off here, Im Adam hiniach davar muktzah asal chaveroi. If someone puts his muktzah on his friend's davar heter, loy amina the nasas basel davar aser, the ein adam oiser shal chaveroi shloim daitoi. You can't ask somebody else's thing. I can't make your thing davar heter muktzah. Right? This is sometimes we find it all over in halacha that I cannot ask your thing, but here it's even more. Here, muktzah is taldi and das bailim. So you're taking your davar muktzah and putting it on top of my davar heter. You can't make my thing muktzah. Can't make my thing muktzah. One more seif. Get to the Magen Avraham in a second.
Would you be machalek between husband and wife in that situation?
Oh, so let's speak about it. The person speaking about halacha, kids, husband and wife.
About like my pen on my wife's book.
Right. So they speak about it, but I don't know how they come out exactly. But even kids in the house. People in the house, people living in the house. So, I don't know what they say. I don't remember offhand. Things that's meant for everyone to use, even though you're the owner of it, but your kids use it, then I think they could make a muktzah. Because they have a right to put it there. It's not called asr in your thing. But, I don't remember what the
It's your talus, and they put a pen on your talus.
Right.
Then you'll be
It's your talus, yeah. If someone puts something on top of your talus,
right.
they'll become bosses. I don't remember what to say. They have chaluk and wife and kids. They make those chalukim. This they were going back to Siv Dalet. This they were matter to the hatters to shake off the rock from top of the barrel. The hatters to pick it up and bend it over, or lanar to shake it off. Dafka b'tzarich l'guf hachavis. Only when you need the barrel, the car or the pillow. Aval tzarich l'mokem hachavis. You need the place where the chavis is, the car and the pillow. You're not going to get anything. You're shaking it off, the rock is going to fall right there on the floor, so then you're back to square one. You needed to move the whole thing away, you wanted the place where the chavis was. So then, then you're allowed to move the whole thing. Why? Because the chavis is not a bosses, the chavis is not muktzah. The chavis is davar heter. We're talking about shecheach. Right, the Magen speaks it out. Sifka and Tess. Yachal Taltlam Haina B'Shecheach. When you forgot it. So any time it's not a boss, it's a davar aser, you don't have to just shake it off. Shaking it off is only if all you need is the chavias, then shake it off. But if you need the place where the chavias is, then you're allowed to move the whole chavias away, even with the rock on top of it. Let's see the Magen Avraham Sifka and Ches. Shlomi Daitoi. Chem Ashmat Heisvis Taflam Zayin. Here's a few questions over here. I'm going to stop it. If someone put a kli under a candle, and then the candle fell into it, and then it bounced out and it fell out. If you're allowed to give a taltal the kli afterwards or not. So now what's the question over here? What's the shayla? So the machlok is exactly what the case is. So the Vush Esrod says, Sheiniach Kli, have the Vush Esrod inside of the Shulchan Aruch?
Yeah.
Sheiniach Kli Tachas Aner, the Chagam Yishleim, the Kivin, the Adaita, the Suffolk Zer, Sheiniach HaKli, Sham Shema Yipol Aner Have a Kemoy. That's what the members. Chaf. Yenichem Midas.
It's a lemon.
Lamed by you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's a mem. Sorry. Have a lay Yenichem Midas. So he's saying here is you put the kli under the ner. Now you didn't put the ner in the kli. What happened was it fell down. The ner fell into the kli. Is that called maniach or is that called shacheach?
Not.
You didn't put it in. Is that called maniach? So the question is that maybe it's called maniach because you put it there. That if the candle falls, it shouldn't fall on the table.
Well, that's
it should fall in the kli.
That's like the tray
Yeah,
for
tray.
your electric, for your candles. For your candlestick, because you put the tray there, it isn't only for noise, it's also just in case the candle falls down from your candlestick, so it won't fall on the table.
Okay, that'll be the same thing. That's what it's for. That's what it's for. You're right. But the problem is the tray is holding up the candlestick.
But this kli will also be doing the same thing, because it's holding up the nair.
No. The kli is lying next to just under the leichter, not holding up the foot of the leichter, under the branches of the leichter. That's what the kli is.
So you mean it's a separate kind of thing?
It's a separate thing, yeah. Okay. So there, it could be it never became a bosses.
Okay.
Even though it fell in, it's not a miniach. Right. That was a shayla.
Not only that, not even if it's down. Let's say it's bumped on one of the branches and falls forward and goes into that kli, which was not even under.
Right, but you put the kli there in order to get the candle, so maybe it has a din like miniach. One shayla. Then another shayla says, we just said now that you can't aser, you can't make
somebody
else's thing for a bosses for you. But how about I took Ruben's kli in Ruben loch kli shel Shimon, v'sam betachas hanel, v'naf hanel atoichay. If yachal leser kli shel Shimon levat le'meichana elav. What happened over here was Shimon had a leichter, and Ruben took Shimon's kli to help him out. And he put the kli under Shimon's leichter. And then a ner fell in and it's still lying there. It's still lying there. Is it us or not? So here the question is, that we just said, now that I can't ask for something that's not mine, but how about if I'm doing it for you, not for me? Then maybe I could ask for it. Because you want me to do it. So maybe then you could ask for it. Shimon hiniach mois al kal shel Ruvain, kosev al ziruv lav chok minel es al Ruvain. Like we just saw before. I can't ask you if it's not for your benefit. At kal l'shoyna, b'mordchai perikira, v'tzarech loyma said the Magen Avraham, the Mitziasa, the middle case, Mairi, you're going to hiniach Ruvain kli Shimon, takas ner Shimon. V'in kain, mistamal nichalesh la yisaref habayas, v'lechein nistapik boy. Therefore he has a shayla. Tzarechin. Ubetaiset achmem dalid v'maschal yesh mashma le'isser kivin she'oisa le'das chaveiroi. Since he's doing it for his friend, therefore it is aser. So the only time I can't ask my friend's thing is when I'm doing it for my own benefit. But if I'm doing it for my friend's benefit, then it could be it is aser. So you look in Mishabur Sifkan Chav Daled. No, sorry, Sifkan Chav Zayin. It's going in the Ramah that you can't aser something of your friend Shlomi Daitai. Im also came the Toivus Chaveiroi when a stam Nichelei Bezeh. And Shanat Ruben Cleaver Mider by Der Takas and Ner base Shimon, the Shipal Nel Toiche, but the Tiad Lake of Nafal Nel Toiche Khadim and Ashmoshes, or he would Toiche ad Achaben Ashmoshes, Nasis Akli, Bosses La Ner, but also the Tatul Kala Shabbos, Af Achash Nestalach Ner, Kain Kosev Harbe Achroinim. A lot of Achroinim bring this Chumrah. Even though the Magen Avraham brings down the Suffolk, he brings down Taisvis, that's Mashma, that it's Aser. Mr. Brewer says it should be machmir. If you're doing it for your friend, then it's aser. So then he says a big chiddush over here. There's a Yisodim Psak from the Mishnah Brewer over here. U'derech hachayim, the Tzadeid, If you had in mind to take out the nair after it fell into the bowl, we said before, right? According to the Yeshayim in seif Dalit, that if you have mind to take it away on Shabbos, it's not a basis at all. So if you had in mind to take it away, says the Mishnah Berurah here, you could be with Sarif that Yeshayim. And since to Aser Chaveroi, even though he wants it, is not the Pasha that it's Aser, so it takes both Shittas, it makes it Tziruf, and it comes out L'Kula. When you can make these Tziruf and when not, you have to be a Paisik. But the Mishnah Berurah here takes two separate halachas. One is, can I ask my friend's chayfetz, even though it's for him? A different halacha, that a basis is only if you have a mind to keep it there the whole Shabbos. He takes both things that's mitzvah with them, and says that it could be mekel. So you see the Mishnah Berurah uses this kula of the Yesh Aimrim when he has a tziruf with other halachas. So it would come out.
What's the case of the Mishnah Berurah then?
I put your plate under your leichter,
Right.
but I had in mind to take it away.
But the light was going to, the candle,
The candle falls in.
Right, but the candles were going to go out anyways before Shabbos. That's the case.
You know, that makes the leichter out of us, that's right. I'm talking about the plate. Even though the candle falls into the plate, then I might tell the guy to take it out. Then you don't have mind to keep it there the whole Shabbos. So then it's mutter to move it. It's not a basis, it's the whole Shabbos. Even though it's there the whole Beresh Moshes. So you see that Mishnah Berurah does bring this as a kula to a makel if you don't have a mind to keep it in the whole Beresh Moshes. So if you have other kulas in the leichter case, a leichter case is a typical example where it's not a basis the whole Shabbos. You don't have kulas. You can be makel. If you have other Malcolm Hefsid is makel, you can makel if certain times you can makel.
But just the Mekayma, Friday night you set the table, and Shabbos you have guests and you forgot.
You want to move the leichter on Shabbos?
Yeah.
I'm not sure Malcolm
The
Hefsid.
question is, no. But the question is, could you send
No,
out
but
the
you-
Yeshayim?
Only Malcolm Hefsid, he says. Malcolm Hefsid could set up
Here.
the Here, here is makel because it's a different tziruf. It could be never became a basis because I can't answer your thing,
Right.
even though it's for you. So it has a tziruf of that.
Right.
Push that together.
And
But
could you send it on
but
the
you-
Yeshayim alone?
no, you can't say on the Shem alone. You can mitzaref with something else. You can be mitzaref it.
Right.
If in the case where you had the leichter on Friday night,
You forgot.
and Shabbos
You have to
morning,
give guests.
you want to move it, then you don't have any tzrufim.
Right.
So you want to do mitzaref, I tell a guy, Birmiza, that maybe I could do it because I have a tziruf of that kula. Maybe.
You can't say the life is your wife's? And I'm the one that put it?
What do you mean? But you put what there?
The leichter
You put it where?
on the table.
So the table's also. I mean, the leichter is also to move because the fire.
Right.
So what's your wife's? The leichter?
The leichter is the wife, yeah.
So, and she made it the bosses. She lit the candles.
Oh, okay.
The leichter be yours.
I got the candles ready. But I guess she actually...
No,
lit
but she lit it.
Okay.
If the leichter be yours, maybe you have the head to.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay, what if the leichter is mine? From my family, I can hear it from my family.
You don't have the head to. Even the person who makes it to husband and wife, so it's meant for her to use.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So for
hers.
You cannot take it.
Okay, are we on next week?
Yep.
Next week we're on, yeah?